So I'm recording this podcast episode the day after the seizure that I shared on social media with my daughter. And the reason I shared that was I'll go into depth about it, but really to help somebody out there in need and to give you guys a different perspective of who I am as a person and why I do what I do. Most of the stuff we talk about on Budget Dog in general is all financial content, S&P 500 funds. You guys get my point. Roth IRAs, budgeting, tax planning, estate planning, insurances, investing, obviously, like all the financial stuff we talk about every day. But sometimes people forget that I'm just another person just like you behind the screen. And so, a lot of you guys have met me, a lot of in person, that is, and a lot of you guys have gone to the gym with me. A lot of you guys have met up with me in different locations throughout the United States. I've gotten lunch with you guys. I've gotten to know a lot of you guys personally, and it's really cool. And some of you guys know my personal story, my family, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to share a story with you today of what happened yesterday because one, it's very personal, but two, I believe that this can really help somebody. So where do I even begin? Yesterday morning at 4:34, my daughter went into a seizure. She has Dravet syndrome, so this is nothing new. You guys all know my national bestseller, The Roadmap to Financial Freedom, is dedicated 100% to Dravet syndrome. She's now 3 years old. We got the diagnosis about 5 months, so this isn't new per se. And this one was different. We've had a decent amount of seizures, unfortunately, but this one was different. And the way this one hit me emotionally was something I can't really explain, but I'm going to do my best to put it into words. And hopefully the lesson behind this is going to help you. I'm a big family guy. I have two little daughters, Ellie, who is 3, I apologize. Ellie is 1 and Logan is 3. Obviously, my wife and I have been married for going on 8 years, and I love everything about it. Last night at 4:34, specifically, because the seizure monitor picked up some movement, my daughter went into a seizure. Unfortunately, the seizure monitors didn't go off. They picked up movement, but they didn't go off. They didn't alert us. And by the grace of God, I was having a dream right before that moment. And based on the timing of everything, I would assume this dream happened anywhere from 4:25 to 4:30. 4:35, that is. So that 10-minute gap, somewhere between there. And obviously, as you know, dreams are actually faster than you feel like they are oftentimes based on studies. Not that I'm a dream expert out here, but I had a dream that I was saving a girl from like an aquarium type of body of water. So she was like in a glass case, kind of like an aquarium type, and I saw her drowning. And I had to jump into the aquarium to save her, and I did. That girl was the girl that cut my hair at Great Clips that day. Shout out to my Great Clips folks. And there was something about her, I can't explain it, but I really, really enjoyed her presence. She was I almost thought she was like an empath, and I really thought she was so inviting and so comforting. And we had a great conversation, and we talked about my daughter at length. And that same night is when the seizure happened, or the next morning, technically speaking. She was the girl I saved in the water, my hairdresser. As soon as I saved her from drowning, she looked up at me and said, "Go save Logan." I don't know how to put that in words. So much to unpack there. But that really, really struck me, not only because of that, but I woke up right at that moment because I was told to go save Logan. And I truly believe that was from the grace of God. And when I woke up, I checked the alarm, and there wasn't usually what the Sammy Cam monitor that we have. There's like this little red bar, and if there's consistent movement, it starts to increase and go up. The red bar does, and once it hits a certain threshold, the alarm goes off. the alarm was not registering much movement. It was kind of off and on. So it kept going up and then it kind of goes down. And so if it stops, the movement stops, obviously the red bar starts going back down. And so there was no movement when I woke up per the seizure monitor. But when I looked at it, I was told to check on her. And so I stared at the monitor. I knew something wasn't right. I walked into the closet where she has to, it's like a big walk-in closet where she's like attached to our bedroom and she has to be close to us because of the situation that she's in right now. She will be moving to a new room here shortly. But for right now, she is in the big walk-in closet. It's basically a mini room. And it's dark, obviously, in there. And so I'm like feeling around in the big bed where she's at, and I feel her. And I feel that she's limp, but it's not a sleeping limp. And I know the difference because I unfortunately have had to feel too many times. And I felt the limp body. I picked her up right away. She was in a seizure, and it was a silent seizure, which is scary. That's such a terrorizing feeling. If you're a parent out there and you know what that feels like, going to bed and praying that the monitors you have in place, the 3 monitors that we have, something picks it up. And you hear the horrific stories out there. That's the biggest fear. So anyways, I picked her up, administered the emergency meds. The 4 a.m. seizures are always bad news. It's never a good sign. We have these things pretty under control for the most part, I'd say. If there's a 4 a.m. seizure, it means bad news. It means there's a lack of medication, there's a sickness brewing, there's something serious under the surface. And so we've come to the conclusion after we got our blood test, of course, the day of, that we took a few days before, that she was under medicated. And so we had some feelings that was the case, but we didn't have the actual blood results until after the seizure happened. Of course, that's how it always works, right? And man, that was a scary seizure. I truly think that was the moment that, I grew up in a Catholic household, for example, but, I think all as humans, we all have our different beliefs and our different thoughts on is God real? What is God? Asking those types of questions. That was the first definitive time that I'm like, yeah, God's real. There's no doubt about it. And that was the first time that, Logan and I have some telekinetic energy or something, because there is just there is no way that would have happened without the grace of God. And so I don't want to push religion on anybody, push belief on anybody, but I'm filming this a day after. And I'm still a little shook, like, to be honest. Crazy. Just crazy experience. But I wanted to tell that story because I want to talk about this, which is really important. I think there's 3 traits to people that are successful. And so yesterday was a good experience and a good story lead into what I'm about to talk about, because I think it's really important to relate to this. Life is tough. I sent a message out to my students yesterday in Budget Dog Academy. Life is really tough. Like, there's going to be things that hit you, and it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody goes through something. And I was saying in my video on Instagram the other day, understand that you don't understand what other people are going through at different times. People are going to go through a lot of different things. And there's going to be things you don't understand. But have some compassion and have some empathy. And so as I was thinking through, how was I going to bounce back? I kind of did what I always do, is I bounce back pretty quick. I start working, I get to work, and I can't let my daughter down. I can't let my family down. And as emotional as it was, as crazy as it was, if I sat there and complained, whined, had a victim mentality of any sort, my daughter, my family, myself would be worse off if that was the case. Right or wrong. It's not that you can't feel emotion. It's not that you can't feel the feelings that come with something like that, a traumatic event. But if you don't respond the right way, you're only going to hurt yourself. And I say this all the time, this victim mentality out there, especially in America, man, it's crazy that there's so many people that are like, well, it's just not fair. Well, it's just your privilege. Well, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of things that we all deal with, no matter what our skin color is, no matter what our income is, no matter what background we come from, no matter where we grew up, no matter what our life experiences were. Everybody has different advantages and disadvantages. And if you are one of those individuals that focus on a victim mentality as to why I have something that you don't, or as why somebody else has something that you don't, and that's the reason they're ahead, you're not going to make it. And I'm going to say that really strongly because I truly believe that you will dictate the way your life plays out. There's a lot of good poker players out there that will get a 7-2 offsuit, which is known to be the worst hand that you can be given in poker. But if you play your cards right, you can still win that hand. Sometimes you're going to have an advantage. Sometimes you're going to have a disadvantage. Use your disadvantage to your advantage. That's how you win. I don't care where you came from or what your situation is. If you tell me the reason you're in the position you're in is because everything that happened to you is the reason, you're going to stay in the same position because you're complaining. And there's no productivity. I'm not saying it's fair. Life is not fair. Get over it. I'm not saying the position you're in right now is better or worse than somebody else's. I'm just saying if you stay in that victim mentality, you're not going to make it. You're going to stay or go backwards. And so I'm trying to wake people up when I say this. I don't want to sound heartless. I don't want to sound like I don't understand where you're coming from. Like I said, I understand that I don't understand at all times. But there are things I deal with or somebody else deals with in a different light that are harder than your situation. And just because they have a one-up advantage in one area of life doesn't mean in every area of life they do. And so for you to focus on that disadvantage so heavily and use it as like a self-sabotaging tool, it's not going to help you. And so we all deal with this stuff. And when it comes down to the focus and how you become successful, I'll tell you the 3 things that I truly believe, and I'll share the last one, which I think is the most important at the end. Number 1 is persistence. Not taking no for an answer. I think confidence comes with this a little bit, and I think working on yourself helps you with this one. But when I set out to do something, there is no, like, it's a non-negotiable. I will do it. On my whiteboard behind me, I have multiple goals. I've always had goals there, and they always get checked off because it will get done. It's a non-negotiable. I make a promise with myself. I'm truthful to myself. No matter what challenges I face during that time, it will get done. You saw me from a financial perspective pay off all my debt, $304,000 in 5 years. You saw me become financially free. You saw me quit my 9-to-5. You saw me and you see me right now raising $1 million for Dravet syndrome. I announced January 1st. We're already at 12% of our goal, 120,000 year to date. We will do what we say we're going to do. You saw me fail my CPA test multiple times, and it was just annoying to me because I knew I was going to eventually pass. So it was just another hurdle I had to go through to get the passing grade. And I knew I would do it. And everything my wife and I say we're going to do, we're going to do. And that's the mentality we lead with. That's the mentality we need more parents out there to lead with for their children. You have to be a strong role model for your child. If you let everything that comes at your way in life hit you and knock you down and not get back up, you're weak-minded. You don't have to like what I just said, but you are. You're weak-minded. I care for you. I love you. I have compassion for you. I want to get you back up. But you have to dig deep and figure that out in yourself to overcome that get back up for you and your family. Because if you don't, you'll stay on the ground and you won't get anywhere. And you'll just be that complainer that wants everything from the government. I have friends in all different backgrounds. I have experiences with people from all different sorts of ethnicities, countries, demographics. I've seen a lot of different types of ways that people live. Really, really rich, really, really poor, middle class, everything. And there's common trends that I see in the ultra wealthy. Persistence is that first thing. The second thing is consistency. And so everybody can feel great on one day and go to the gym and lift as much weight as possible, but do they do it the next 7 days? Do they do it the next 30 days? Do they do it the next 365 days? The vast majority do not. Do the vast majority eat healthy for 365 days straight, or do they eat healthy for a week, get tired of it, give in to their impulses on the weekend, and then go right back into where they were in default mode? You asked that. You answered that question for me. All I do is look at actions, and all I do is look at results. And that tells me who's going to win and who's going to lose. If you're not consistent with any approach that you take, and this is not just finance related, guys, this is everything, you're not going to win at that game. Like I often talk about why I become financially successful. It has nothing to do with my income that every victim out there wants to point out. Well, you just make more money. No, I don't. I made $50,000 to begin my career. That wasn't life-changing money. It was because I built a systematic approach to be consistent with my investments, and I did that for 11 years, and as I increased my income, I kept my expenses the same. I automated the whole thing. I systemized the entire thing, and well, I become a national best-selling author teaching the exact roadmap to financial freedom and Millionaire's Guide to Building Automated Wealth. 100% donations go to Dravet syndrome. Find the link below. In donation or in dedication to my daughter that I opened this podcast up and talked about. And so everything comes down to consistency, and it has to be systematic because we're human. And it's okay, guys. I'm human, just like you. There's nothing special about what I have. But the reason I share this stuff is because I figured something out. I know I have a long way to go. I know I have a lot to learn, but I figured something out. I didn't accidentally become financially free. I didn't accidentally pay off debt, $304,000 in 5 years. I didn't accidentally have my wife quit her 9 to 5 because she could stay home with Logan and move across the country for the best treatment in the world. I didn't accidentally do this stuff. It was because the stuff I'm talking about right now, it's a mindset behind it. It's not gimmicky mindset stuff from some guru online. This is just real. I'm just a dude in Dallas, Texas, talking about my experiences, about what actually is happening. And I'm speaking with results, not just telling you stuff. Like, hear me when I say this. I don't talk on things I don't feel comfortable talking on, or I don't have experience with, or I don't have results with. I look at results. If somebody comes to me and I meet somebody in a gym or somebody in a business meeting and they tell me all their dreams and goals, I just ask them, I get to know the results of where they're at. And I can tell you how many people I've come across in the past where like, man, I really want to become financially free. I really want to start a business. How many of those people actually freaking did that? Hardly any. Because I know instantly, I used to fall for that. I used to be like, man, I really want you to, I want good for people. It's in me. It's innate in me. I want you to win. And I almost want it more than the player a lot. Like as a coach, I want it more than my students a lot of times. And it drives me crazy, but it's innate. I can't stop it. It's like, I want you to win so freaking bad, but I need you to want that just as bad because I can't do it for you. And the thing is, when I see these people talk about it, I've stopped listening to what they're going to tell me because I just know it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, I'll support you all the way, but I'm not going to spend all my day's energy into trying to get you to start when you don't really want to start truly deep down. Systemizing your finances, systemizing your entire life, systemizing everything. The book Atomic Habits, one of the best books out there. It's how I model my entire life. I did that before I read the book. I don't know if it's my CPA in me, my nature, type A personality. I don't know. But man, it's so powerful to have atomic habits. Little tiny things that add up and consistently compound. That's number 2, consistency. So number 1's persistence. Number 2's consistency. Number 3, and you can't teach this, And this often, I'll tell you where this comes from. A deep desire, a hunger to win at whatever you do. This is a deep human nature, psychological thing that happens for many different reasons. I can't put it into words why it happens for everybody, but a desire to win. Oftentimes, you know where it comes from? An insecurity. You know the top 3 traits of the highest successful individuals outside of what I talked about? Number 1 is hunger, and it comes from a deep insecurity a lot of times. But here's the thing. That deep insecurity can be looked at as 2 ways. A lot of people look at it as a bad thing. Insecurity equals bad. And we've been trained, don't be insecure. Be secure in yourself. Why don't you just feel and embrace everything that comes your way in life, insecurities included, and use it to create positive? Anytime somebody does something mean or bad to you, reverse that situation and use that as an opportunity to deliver good back, to then change or diffuse that situation and help that individual. The only reason somebody hurts you is because they're hurting inside. And so it's very, very important to use everything, especially insecurity, if the hunger is stemming from that, to then help yourself or help other people. These 3 traits I can't teach them at all times. Consistency is pretty easy because you can systemize it. Persistence, I think, comes from working on your confidence. I think being able to be confident in yourself to go ask somebody the question. I get so many people crazy. They have this invisible wall. They don't ever address it like at the conscious level, but subconsciously I hear in their speech is like, I'm like, hey, we have a deal or we have this or, it's so, I don't know. It's built into me. I have a lot of confidence naturally, and so therefore, if I want something, I'll go get it. And I'll ask whoever I need to get. No one scares me. Everyone's human. And so if I need to go ask this person, or I just start utilizing my resources and I just piece it all together like a big puzzle. But there are so many times where I'm like, hey, there's your answer. Go ask that person. And somebody's like, yeah, and I can just hear the passive tone in their voice. And I just know instantly they're not going to go ask that person and get the result. And I can't tell you how important confidence is to begin persistence. Because you're only persistent when you're confident. If you're sitting there nervous and worried about everything that's going to happen potentially from going to get something, you're not going to be persistent in your pursuit. So confidence is pretty easy. Like I said, systematic, but persistence is all working on your self-confidence. And it's why everybody that comes into Budget Dog Academy works with a behavioral psychologist, Heather, because she works at the subconscious level with you as to why you're doing what you're doing. That's empowering for a lot of people. If you guys are looking to book a call with my team for Budget Dog Academy to take your life to the next level within the finance, but also everything, go down below and book a call with my team. It will be life-changing. I can guarantee. I'll shake your hand on it. The last thing is hunger. And like I said, there's not a way I teach hunger. It's one of those things where you just got that dog in you or you don't. And I think the biggest thing is to seek what you're after, truly seek what you're after and be true to yourself. I think being true to yourself will allow you to be hungry. Because if I push myself to be a CPA and be the best CPA in the world, as I am a CPA, technically speaking. Not technically speaking, I am a CPA. But I don't practice like taxes. I don't practice CPA work at this point in time. It's more education in nature. So like if I wanted to push myself to become the best CPA, but I don't really innately want to be the best CPA, there's going to be any bit of resistance is going to be, I'm just going to give into that because I don't really want to be the best CPA. I want to be the best father. I want to be the best husband. And I want to be the best business owner and also coach/mentor for all my students. And I have a deep desire, and I can't really tell you definitively where that comes from. I think there's a lot of different things at play there, to be the best at those 3 things. And like I said, father first, let's say father, husband interchangeably, and then business owner/coach/mentor. Those 3 things are so deep embedded in me naturally, I don't need to spark myself up or give myself momentum or motivation. It's there. And so there's days I wake up, I don't feel great. I'm human. I feel tired. I feel stressed. I feel, all the same feelings you have. But I have such a deep hunger to do amazing things and help the world in amazing ways with that hunger. And so me knowing deep and true to myself what I want to be and who I want to be and who I want to emulate, father, husband, business owner, coach, mentor, those things are easier for me to be hungry because I want it naturally. But a lot of people aren't true to themselves because their mom and dad told them they need to be a doctor and they don't want to be a doctor. But they know, and my roommate in college was the same situation. Comes from an Asian family that are both mom and dad are doctors. It's pushed in that culture, in his culture, as he's explained to me many times, that it's expected all the kids are doctors. He never wanted to be a doctor. But he had so much pressure, and he told me in college all the time, he'd be like, man, I have so many stress dreams, the teeth falling out. That's a common stress dream. I'm having all these dreams. I don't want to do this. I'm not being true to myself. I'm like, Mark, what do you want to do? And he really liked finance, actually. Go do finance, man. Go help people with financial stuff. He never did. And that's the reality of a lot of people. They're living a lie. They're living in a fake world created by other people. Mom and dad mean well, but mom and dad don't know you. They don't know you at your core. You have to know you. Nobody knows you at your core more than you. Nobody's as truthful to you as you can be. And I need you to find you in you. Because when you find you in you, you're going to have that deep desire for hunger. And if you had that deep desire for hunger, which is the number one trait of successful people, and that's proven out to be by Tony Robbins, one of the world's renowned experts in this psychology and personal development field. If you find your deep desire for hunger, it's real easy to find the consistency with the systematic approach for anything you do. And that confidence comes with that desire because you want it so bad, so that persistence happens. And you piece those together, and I would bet my life on it. That's how confident I am. If you possess these three traits, deep desire for hunger, persistency, and consistency, and you do that for your entire life, I would literally bet my life on it that you won't lose. That is how confident I am that you should be focusing on those things, not focusing on the result, not focusing on the trophy, focusing specifically on that. How do I embed these three traits in me? Because I know if those three traits, the underlying root cause of my success, all of the trophies, all of the success, all of the money, all of the everything I want is going to come as a result. But so many people focus on the trophy, and they forget to go backwards and to focus on the actual result, the reason the trophy came. And so then they're met with resistance. They're met with all the hard challenges and the tough late nights and the stress and the throwing up because you're so sick to your stomach about being successful. And you're so focused on the trophy, but you forget all that goes into getting that trophy. And sometimes, and most times, I would say 95% of the time, people that are like that and looking for the trophy only are met with so much resistance, they always quit because they don't know what that trophy really means. Michael Jordan didn't just go get 6 championships and just show up and that happened. There was so much to that story behind the scenes of just a deep desire to win. Consistency, persistency. You don't think Michael Jordan possessed those 3 traits? Look at anybody super successful and ask if those 3 traits are embedded in that individual. I would be shocked if they are not. I would be absolutely shocked if they are not. And so I hope this helps you from the bottom of my heart. And I hope my vulnerability moment today, sharing the story with my daughter and how God spoke to me, I so hope that you take this and you run with it. This isn't financial today. This isn't about money. This is about why we're in the position we're in, and it's all because of this other stuff. It's not because we make a ton of money or something like that. A lot of people like to point to that stuff, or because we save a lot of money, or because I'm more educated than somebody than finance. That's not the reason. Like, all of that stuff happens because all of the things we talked about today. Those are the results of focusing on what actually drives and moves the needle for you and your family. And I believe in people so deeply. I believe in humanity so deeply. I have such a bullish mindset on people. And I need people to wake up and awaken because there's so much potential sitting right in front of you right now, inside of you. But so many people want to be average because so many different reasons. Fear holds so many people back. I don't know. I don't want to be judged. Like, You got to get over that stuff. You got to focus on this stuff because this stuff is what gets you the money, that gets you the success, that gets you the title, that gets you the family you want. So I hope today was very well worth it. If you guys have any questions, obviously send me a DM. Let's talk about it. I'm very open about this stuff. I like to connect with you guys. Don't be afraid to send me a DM. Talk about persistency. Unless you ask, the answer is no. If you don't ask, if you don't send me a message, I don't know you. You know how many people I probably don't know that are listening to this right now just because you never reached out to me? I can't do anything about that. I can only encourage you to reach out to me. Reach out to me. Don't be scared. I appreciate everybody, and I will see you next week.
You've been listening to Money on My Mind with your host, Brennan Slagbaum. If you found value in today's discussion, share it with someone who could benefit from it too. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss a money mastery tip. Until next time, stay passionate about your financial journey and keep taking bold steps towards your money goals.